What's up, peeps? Welcome to my channel. I'm Jen, and this is Copper Cactus DIY, where I share my furniture art, faux finishing, and decorative painting. Today is really exciting because, along with our host Crystal at the Crafty Creech, I'm co-hosting this month's Unique Antique Challenge. Woo! This one is a showstopper. We're taking inspiration from the music, fashion eras, song titles, lyrics, and more of Taylor Swift, and we are celebrating that inspo through our furniture art. And I'm making over my still plain after 3 years dresser. Plus, I'm avoiding a big mistake that I made on my husband's dresser by removing and marking all 9 of these drawers. I'm upgrading the drawer insides, I'll be doing some faux wood, of course, and I'm attempting to go with, but not match specifically, Mr. CC DIY's dresser. Plus, this new pretty girl is getting some additional bling because no bejeweled one would be complete without a little sparkle. I finished removing and marking the drawers, but before I could move them into the workshop, I decided to set up the tent that arrived just a little too late for my last project. I'll let you enjoy a montage of my ridiculous, albeit successful, attempts at doing this alone. Hi, it's the most me. To save a few minutes, I asked Mr. CC DIY for some help removing the hardware. Turned out he could do it all by hand, but while he was doing that, I mixed some water into my wood fill so I could significantly thin it out. What I'm doing with this frog tape, I'm just ripping off a small piece for each of these holes. I'll put it on the inside so that'll stop anything from coming through. And then I'm just really tightly burnishing that down so that it stays in place. I'm gonna do that for all of these. Then my plan is to put this wood fill in this cheap little sandwich bag, snip the tip here, and actually pipe this wood fill into these holes because I just know it's gonna be way less messy and cause me to do way less sanding, which is the ultimate goal all the time. All right, I'm cutting the tiniest little snippet off here. Okay. Like usual, I'm gonna get you into high speed for the rest. I finished here and started on the base of this dresser back inside. I started by dusting. It really needed this more than anything else. There was a bit of hand oil on the front at the top, but otherwise not much wrong with this. And no grime to speak of to clean because I always used the hardware and I had towels over the surface to protect it from any damage. So I used baby wipes and some serious elbow grease to remove any oils. Then I wiped down the entire thing with water and I left it to dry while I mixed paint. I'm not custom mixing this time. Instead, I want to mix the 2 containers of the same color together. That way, if there are any differences in how each of these jars were tinted, they're mixed together to form one new color. Then when I do the second coat, it won't look weird. I started on this first side using a zebra trim brush, but I switched to my floppy purdy. And yes, I know I have a workshop and I just set up that spray tent. I also have a sprayer. However, between setting up that sprayer, thinning and straining the paint, taping and masking off what I don't want sprayed, doing that painting, plus the breakdown and cleanup and putting away of everything, yeah, I'm not really a fan of using a sprayer most of the time. Not only for the cleanup and hassle of setup and cleanup and all of that, but my favorite part of this job is actually the handedness of a tactile application of paint. Not to mention, I hate noise and mess, and frankly, I just like having a brush in my hand. Painting like this is calming to me. It's a zen activity. I just blast my music and paint. I am going to use a fine grit rad pad, which are honestly probably at very fine status at this point. They're so old, but I'm just going to use that over this, knock off any of the chunkers that happened, and then wipe it down, and then I'll be ready for coat 2. While I smoothed out the final side, I noticed an issue that needed to be addressed. A piece of the side panel had split at the bottom. I'm going to keep an eye on this area as time goes on. Nothing shows from the inside, but it kind of almost looked like this is internal damage to the wood substrate, so I'm not sure if it'll bleed through eventually or if it'll snap back again eventually, but for now, I used an X-Acto knife and I cut a small segment of the wood back, added a coat of wood fill and left that to dry. Sanded the wood fill back, added a second coat of filler and left that to dry. Then I sanded, wiped back the dust, and added the first of 2 coats of this green chalk paint. I did the second coat off camera and I left it all to dry while I got back to the drawers. These holes did shrink back as I expected, but they're a little deeper and more pronounced of a shrink back than I had hoped for. I'm gonna fill that bag again and snip the other side and just come in and do a quick second pipe here. Once this is fully dried and cured tomorrow morning, I will come in with the epoxy wood and completely fill this in. With all coats dry the next morning, I tried a new to me wood epoxy. I figured it would be a smart way to fill these 15 hardware holes that I had to fill. So I mixed what I thought was enough, and I mixed it for what I thought was long enough. Everything looked good, so I filled all the holes. And I left it to cure for about an hour and a half. So here I was, getting the sander set up and ready to do the sanding of this epoxy wood. I should never try something the first time. It's been over an hour now, about an hour and 20 minutes, and you can see this is still just like balling up. It kicked. I felt it actually kick on my fingers where I had mixed it. I guess I mixed just enough on my fingers and not enough on this drawer or something. I don't know, but not only is it still balled up and not doing what it's supposed to do, but it's now kind of stained. I don't know if you can see that, and hopefully it goes away eventually. It's kind of stained this drawer front. I'm going to get my Japan scraper and try to scrape out all of this epoxy and literally come back in with wood fill and use my tried and true. And I did say it was dried out when I first opened it, so maybe it just was too old or something, I don't know, but it clearly didn't work. I may need to try it again and, you know, use it differently or whatever, but I'm going to scrape as much of this out and off as I can, and then, like I said, just go in with wood fill. I mean, if any of you have any tips for me on this stuff, did I just not work it long enough? Was it old? Like any number of things. If any of you know about this JB Weld product and know if I used it right, or did I just need to let it sit longer? Any of those number of things. While I'm sanding off this actual just wood fill and praying that it's down to the level and not too concave. Yeah, I'm brushing on paint inside the spray tent. Though I'm not spraying, I just wanted to make sure it was comfortable for me to sit, stand, and work in this thing, and things were a bit tight with 9 drawers in here, but overall it pretty much worked out. And of course, I flung my first paint all over the inside. I wrapped this up and called it a day. I'm using a pickling stain to add a vague hint of a wood grain to the drawer faces and the base of this dresser. I started by giving a light mist to the entire surface. Then I spread a small bit of the pickling gel across the entire surface. Once that's smoothed and evened out, I can dot in a bit more of the gel here or there to get thicker and thinner lines of white over the green. However, something to keep in mind, because this is pickling and I'm actually using water so I can float the product, it's actually going to dry a lot lighter than it looks right now. And I'm not touching those top 3 drawers, the small ones, because those are going to be the same as what I'm doing on the top. And that is coming up in just a minute or two, so make sure you stick around. Hey, and if you like projects like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you leave this video today. I would love if you loved this enough to join the party, and yeah, anyway, you can do all that below or on the main screen of this video, or actually at the end of this video. If you're one of the coolest and you make it all the way to the end of this video, I will be super excited, and you'll get to see where you can subscribe and watch more videos and watch playlists, this playlist specifically. And yeah, anyway, other than that, I'm just gonna keep going here and let you enjoy with some high-speed action, most likely. I did all 4 edges and continued with all 6 of the big drawers. With drawers done and drying, I moved back to the base, which right now I'm all about, which isn't Taylor Swift, but that's okay. Meghan Trainor would probably be pretty proud too. I'm taping off the top because it's going to have a completely different finish. Once I applied all the tape, I got to pickling. I finished off camera and I left it to dry for the day while I went and edited this video. I'm using FAUX Home Decor liquid wax in what they call white, but really it's more of a creamy off-white. I'm using this point cut brush to apply the wax in pretty even coats. I want to leave a good coating behind, and something that I've found using this wax on furniture over the years, I don't overwork it and I don't buff it. That might sound like I did something bad, but it works for me, so I'll do it over and over and over again. This is going on the base and the 6 large drawer faces. This wax is soap and water cleanup while it's still wet, so I finished and left things to dry and cure overnight while I went to clean my brush in extremely hot water with a ton of soap. I used a green metallic paint pen to add a hint of bling to the 6 large drawer edges. And after using frog tape and a trash bag to fully seal the base, I applied a thinned out coat of wood tint to the top. This is FAUX Home Decor wood tint in the shade Walnut. I misted the surface pretty heavily and made sure to work it until no bubbles showed. Because this is a tint though, it will dry down much lighter than it is now. The first coat dried enough to add a second coat after about an hour. I only dampened the brush for coat 2, not the surface. And I applied in smaller sections to avoid dragging up the bottom layer. I also did 2 coats on the 3 small drawers, but in typical me fashion, I failed to capture any of that work on camera, except this little snippet of me. I left things to dry for the night, but first, I will wait till this is dry and then I'll cover it up. Same with those. While things dried, I went to sweep because I like to keep my side of the bedroom clean. You know what I mean? These drawers aren't perfectly level, plumb, or even the same size as each other. They're only off by a tiny amount, but that would be super obvious when I'm adding the hardware. So I made sure to measure a bunch, level out a bunch, plumb them up, and pre-drill every hole to ensure a smooth installation. These screws, however, are tiny and they're all likely stripped now because my bits aren't tiny. Good thing I'm happy with this hardware. For inside the drawers, I'm placing sheets of scented paper. I found this on Amazon, and not only is it lavender scented, the print is lavender and various leaf shapes. Taking inspo from Ms. Swift's song Lavender Haze, I went literal with the plant. The scent, however, it's so strong, I actually ran my air purifier on high at one point this day, and it still permeated our entire rental. But it's just on paper, so I know it will eventually evaporate. Once it does, if I feel the need, I will adhere these sheets down with some decoupage, but for now, I'm just happy that they've finally flattened out. I used sheets of printer paper to make a template of the size of the top drawer. I test fit my template in all 6 of the drawers, then cut the 6 sheets to size with a sharp X-Acto and placed them in the drawers. Then the thing I'd tried to avoid, but you know there's no stopping, is the need for drilling holes. The fancy hardware that I'm using on the top 3 drawers is a traditional screw into it style of hardware from the back inside of the drawer. So I measured probably a minimum of 50 times for everything here. I measured the center of the drawer, the 2.5 inches that I would need to span on either side of that center mark to reach my hardware holes, which thankfully were at exactly 5 inches. And I measured top down to the measurement that I opted for, which was just slightly off center, and getting to those hardware holes put a nice little X. So when I felt confident that I'd done this 50 times, I used an awl to punch a hole dead center on my cross pattern, and I went directly through the tape. Then I could take that piece of tape, which I had now put another piece of tape on the other 2 drawers at the height that I wanted the top of my hardware to land, so I could use this template tape as a template on the other 2 drawers. I did lay it out there, but I still rechecked measurements because I'm still that girl. Then I drilled. However, sadly, my bit turned out to be just a teeny bit too small, so I picked up the right size bit and I finished this pretty late at night and off camera. To countersink the screw head, I used the drill in reverse with a larger bit on the inside of the drawer. I tested and approved the fit, vacuumed out the debris, and attached my super blingy hardware. Then it was time to do a little hand painting. I'm definitely using mostly lyrical inspo for my piece, and one of Taylor Swift's lyrics suggests that she'd like to remain in one place long enough so that a wisteria plant will grow up and over her. I can relate. Honestly, painting life plus YouTube life plus promo life is like having 3 full-time jobs, and sometimes it's hard to just stand still, so this was my best effort to let go of the running around and let the art do whatever it wanted. It was fun, and I'm freehanding this wisteria-like, plant-like thing. I'm using wisteria as my inspo, but this is more of like a post-impressionist version of a wisteria plant. And also, just to remember, this is only step 1. Okay, so for the wisteria, I'm actually going to do the first coat with this sponge. It's a sea sponge. I've dampened all 3 of these, and I will have my spray bottle over here on hand. I'm using 6 colors of purple and the white. It'll help tone down some of those colors and whatnot. I'm going to try to do like all 3 sponges almost concurrently. This is going to take me a while. This part that I just did took me about 45 minutes. I'm gonna get started on this, and I'm just gonna be like dipping into a color, dipping into the white, dip, 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 turn, turn, turn my hand, and then you'll get to see when I'm pouncing it on, I will be pouncing, but making sure to turn my hand that way, just in case. I don't want any like similar patterns. Wisteria flowers all look the same, but they would never look exactly the same in nature, like when right next to each other like that. So I need there to be some variety in the color tone, the application where I lay things down, and I may or may not use all of these the whole time. So if you notice that it stops being pink, then you'll know I stopped using pink. But maybe at the end I'll come back in and do a little recap if I think about it. But for now, I'm just gonna get started. So here we go. For the leaves, I did a ton of experimenting, but I did it right on the piece. Eventually, I landed on something that I can live with that kind of acts like a leaf bundle. Like I said, this is a wisteria-like, plant-like thing. It is so much back and forth and experimenting, and I'm just going to set this to a little music, so I hope you enjoy. I only had one thing left to do. While I install this beautiful purple self-adhesive felt on the bottom of the top 3 drawers, I want to again thank Crystal over at the Crafty Creech for hosting. I'm so excited to see how Taylor Swift as a theme inspired everyone's artistic flair in this unique antique challenge. The playlist will be linked at the end of this video and down below, as well as all related links and stuff and things that I've mentioned. If you made it this far, thanks is hardly enough, but I seriously appreciate you watching. If you're here during my premiere, I love all you awesome peeps. Thank you so much for hanging out and chatting with me this morning. That means before and afters are coming up next, but that's all the work that I have to share for today. And now it's finally cardigan season. Thanks for watching. Later, peeps.